Welcome to Candid Talks about Sex for Saints, where we get candid about love, sex, wellness, and relationships. Just so you know, I am Tammy, a wife, a mother, best-selling author, your favorite intimacy and relationship coach, and the host of this fantabulous podcast where we're going to promote sex, but still keep it God. And I got a question for you. Have you ever wished that someone had taught you more about sex from a faith-filled perspective? Or have you ever had questions no one could answer? Or if you felt like you knew then what you know now, you might have made decisions a little different. Well, let me tell you, you are not alone. This podcast is dedicated to just that. We're going to fill in the gaps. We're going to break some silence, and we're going to help you grow in godly intimacy without shame. And I am so excited, y'all, because I have a special guest today with us, and we are going to talk about financial intimacy on this Married Sex Monday. Now, Che Willis, who is our special guest, he is the CEO of Wealth is a Journey, a husband, a father, an investor who loves helping people get back on track with their finances. And I am so excited. I am so excited for today's show because one of the things that I really, really understand is that people don't really look at finances as intimacy, right? But let me tell you, ain't nothing worse than nothing can mess up the bedroom more than not having your finances together. And so I'm excited to have Che on the show. Welcome, Che, everybody.
Let's go.
Let's go. I'm excited to have you here. So, Che, just tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much, Tammy, for having me, or Coach Tammy, excuse me, for having me on the podcast. My name is Che Willis, and I help families living paycheck to paycheck live the life that they want to live through financial planning and wealth management. And it's basically just a sexy way of saying that I help people with their finances, getting them on track based on where they want to go in life. So that's what I do. Like you said, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm an investor, a builder of wealth, and trying to help people who look like me, as well as others, to achieve financial freedom, because a lot of us were never taught. And once I kind of figured out what we were doing wrong as a family, and we came over to the other side, then I started helping other families as well. So
Right.
that's
And I
it.
love that. I love that. We gonna listen today. We gonna get y'all right together with the finances. And let me tell you, I'm one of those people who have not been taught properly when it comes to finances. And so I'm one of them who has, mismanaged finances, spent wrong, saved wrong, all of the things. So I'm excited to get into it tonight. But I want to get into like a little myth buster or truth, right? So we're
Mhm.
just gonna have I'm gonna throw some myth busters out there, and we're gonna say whether or not it's true and the reason why. Okay, so I'm gonna start out with the first one, right?
Yep.
Okay, ready? Okay. If we love each other, money won't be an issue.
If we love each other, we can get past money issues if we work together. I'll say
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
And then love helps connect that. If
It does.
hopefully that
It
makes sense.
does.
Yeah,
It does. My daddy used to always say, "Love don't pay the bills," and I did not understand that
that's true.
until I became an adult. Because when you're young and you in love,
Yep.
you're not really thinking about the finances. You're just thinking about how in love you are. And my daughter, she's 20, she's in love, right? Her and her boyfriend, they're in love. They don't think about finances at all. And so I'm always having to have conversations with them, like, listen, y'all, they eat out. They went out the other night.
Yeah.
Almost every night they eat out. Like they went to a Chinese restaurant.
Uh-huh.
They spent almost $90 on takeout. And this is their trend. And I said, I need y'all to sit down and calculate how much money y'all are really spending on food.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that you are going to be able to show for this is weight.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
what I
glad
told them. That's what I
you brought
told
that
them.
up, because now that I'm thinking about it, as you're saying that, I was thinking about like how I was successful, or somewhat successful as a young person. I always had some type of goal or mile marker where I was trying to go. So when I was 16, I bought my first car. And when I was 14, I knew that if I wanted a car, I was going to have to save up for it. So
Yeah.
I did go to the mall, I did buy things, but most of my money went towards buying the car.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe it might be that they don't necessarily have a goal yet, or they do, but they don't necessarily know how to shift a lot of their attention and finances towards that goal.
Right.
Maybe.
Which is common, right?
Correct.
I think now that I'm getting the level of financial awareness,
Hmm.
now I'm trying to be more mindful of it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all, I don't want y'all to make the same mistakes that I made. So now I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
Okay, I got another one. I got
All
another
right.
one.
Let's go.
Okay. As long as the bills are paid, we don't need to talk about money.
That's false.
Yes.
That is false.
I agree because you can't live in survival mode, right?
Correct.
And
So okay, so in order to get somewhere financially, it has to be top of mind, the finances. So my wife and I, even though and we could probably get into it later, we don't have any consumer debt, any mortgage or anything like that anymore. And the reason that is because we were super focused on talking about the finances and where the finances are going towards the goal that we have. And that's how we
right.
were able to do what we do. And even though those things are paid off now, we still have budget meetings every month to
Mm,
direct our money where to go. So now it's not going to the mortgage anymore. Now it's going towards investments and trips and house projects and things of that nature. So
I
the
love
money
that.
still needs to be talked about.
I love that. See y'all. Listen, Che is already spitting a game, and we ain't even got into the conversation yet. I love that. I got three more. Okay,
All
so
right, let's go.
number three, we should keep separate accounts to avoid arguments.
No, no, no. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I've been
Not
been
even
there,
a little
done that.
bit. Not even a little bit.
Absolutely not. No, no. Okay. So I would
Okay.
say if so, my wife and I, we have our joint account, and then we have business accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Those are separate from each other. Then we also have businesses together, which we have joint accounts for. Then we have separate businesses that we have separate accounts for. But all of the our 9 to 5 job household money all goes into one pot, and then it gets divvied out to where it needs to go based on the household.
Yeah. I can understand that. I think for me, when it comes to because my circumstances are a little bit different,
Mhm.
we have to have different accounts, but we still have that joint account together.
Yeah.
And he monitors that account more than I do.
Okay.
I
Okay.
spend more than anything, and then he monitors how much I'm spending.
Can I talk? Can I say something real quick about that?
Of
And
course.
I know that that's the case with a lot of people, right? And
Mhm.
and that may be the most comfortable way. Hey, we'll dump all the money into one pot, and then my husband or my wife, they monitor and they do all the things and pay the bills and all that stuff with it. But I will tell you that it causes a gap in your guys' relationship, or it causes a gap if one of you guys are incapacitated and you can't pay the bills. Now, the
Yeah.
person who was taking care of the bills can't move or do anything. And then the person who is not taking care of the bills is now stuck like, what do I do?
Yeah.
How do I
Yeah.
pay this thing? Or what account does this come out of, or whatever the case may be. So I would caution whoever's listening not to do that and be in partnership with your mate, because if something ever happens to them, then you're going to be stuck.
Yeah. And you know what? I never even really thought about that. You're right. And and
Mhm.
and it's true because I have seen people in that situation where something has happened and they didn't have access to the funds. And so that's a very real thing. That's a very real thing.
Yep.
Okay, so myth number 4,
Yep.
talking about money kills the vibe. It's not romantic.
Well, it if you're first starting out and your finances look not the greatest, it could
Mhm.
kill the vibe. However, if you guys work together and you start paying things down where you then have more money to do the discretionary things that you want to do, then the conversations get a little bit more sexy. Hey, let's
Yeah.
take a trip to Mexico. Hey, let's take a trip over to Europe or something like that. Like, you can do those things if you sacrifice and delay gratification if you're in a bad financial way currently.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be like that.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Having hard conversations are difficult, but they're absolutely necessary.
For
And if
sure.
you're avoiding it, like that's going to kill the relationship even more.
Yep.
So you have to have them. So
Yep.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Okay, the last one is the person who makes the most money should have the most say.
No, absolutely not. That is false. That is false. No, I would say no. I think you guys are a partnership. If you guys are married, you guys are a partnership. So there's always going to be one person who feels like, or in reality, they have more or they're doing more than the other. But then in the other side, like the household chores and things of that nature, the person who may not be making as much may take up the slack of the person who doesn't do a lot of the house chores or things of that nature. So it'll get made up somewhere else. So
Yeah.
don't feel like because I make more, you're or the spouse makes more, then you're less than, because that's not the case.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think a lot of the women, not a lot, I'm not gonna say a lot, but there have been women who I have encountered, right?
Hmm.
They've had spouses who was like, nah, I'm not gonna answer to you, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna do that because I make more money, right?
Yeah.
But things in relationships shift. There
Yeah.
might be seasons where they're not making as much money as they used to, and
Yeah.
then the roles are reversed, and then so now do I have to answer to you, right?
Or let me take it even a step even further. What if the person who has their, like, feel like they're lording over that spouse then gets sick and then
Hmm.
they need their behind wiped?
Oh Lord, yeah.
I'm serious. Like,
That's a real
as we
thing.
get older, these things happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you got to really think about how you're treating the spouse who maybe not making as much or whatever the case may be. Like, you can't do that to people, because it will end up coming back on you. Those seeds that you're sowing now will come back to harvest. You will harvest them things. Trust me.
Yes, real talk. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Well, thank you for my little truth versus myth session. That was real
Absolutely.
good.
Yes.
I
Absolutely.
love
Thank you.
that. I love that. But as I mentioned, I am excited for this conversation tonight because financial intimacy is so important. But I want you all to understand exactly what financial intimacy really is, because it's that emotional and spiritual closeness that couples experience when they are fully transparent with each other, when they're unified in their finances, and they are in agreement about how they view, manage, and use their money. Right?
Yep.
It's not really about just budgeting and bills. It's really about that trust factor, that vulnerability, and that stewardship. And so it's saying, I'm laying it all out on the table, and this is what I have. This is all that I need, and let's come together on the vision of this. And so I think this topic is very important, especially as it relates to intimacy, because finances break relationships, right? People divorce because of finances. It's in the top five. It's in the
Yeah.
top. I think it was number three in terms of the reasons for divorce. And so I remember, I've been married for about 8 years, so not that long. And
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you.
Yes. Congratulations. Let's
I've been
go.
married for 8 years, y'all.
Yeah.
But I remember when I got married. Let me tell you, it was a very quick process. Me and my husband, we were engaged in 2 months. We were married in 6. Okay, that's how fast it was. And when we had our wedding and baby shower at the same time. So that should let you know right there,
Okay.
right? Exactly. We were not behaving. But anyways, needless to say, we got it right, Lord. We got it right.
Mhm.
But no, one of my godmothers, she gave me it was a bank. It was like a bank shaped in a bottle, and we had all kind of donations given to us at the baby shower, and we filled that thing up. We were like, we're gonna save, we're gonna do this. And it was one of the first conversations that we had in regards to our finances. I knew that he didn't have debt, right?
Mhm.
Because he's not a credit card person, or like he didn't have any type of debt at all.
Okay.
But I know me, like I was a single mother for 14 years, so I had a lot of history and a
Yep.
lot of things accumulated. And so
Sure.
we never really had those conversations. So I kind of think I want to start there when it comes to finances, because people are not discussing finances. Why do you think it's important for couples to discuss their finances?
Well, I think it needs to go back even further to how you grew up, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of us grew up a lot of the same way, where parents were tight-lipped about their finances because that's the way they grew up. So if you grew up where, hey, well, my finances are my finances, and you're a kid, stay in your place, you don't need to know about it. I think we learned that I figured it out as a parent, so you will eventually figure it out as well. So we never talk about it because their parents never talked to them about the money, and they figured it out, which is a mistake, because we all know, a lot of us know how it feels to, like, oh, I didn't know that about money, or hey, I didn't know that about investing.
Yeah.
And so if we know that, how that feels, then we should be readily available to pass that information down to our kids. But the thing is, we don't know so much, so we feel dumb a lot of times to even pass the little bit of information that we do know down to our kids because we don't know a lot. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's our responsibility to learn as much as possible, and then whatever little bit or a lot of bit of information that we have, it's our responsibility to pass it down to our kids so they don't run into the pitfalls and things like that that we ran into.
Yeah, I agree with that. I never really understood why finances was such a taboo topic,
Mhm.
right? Like why couples don't really talk about it
Well,
until I got married.
yeah, it's a lot of it's because we're embarrassed because we may not be doing as well as we see other people doing, especially
Yeah.
with the social media age now. Like you see a lot of people with this or that going on trips and so forth, and you may not be able to afford it at the time. And I think there's a lot of shame that comes with it. And the reality is you are where you are, and
Yeah.
that's okay, but don't stay where you are.
Yeah.
And I think the more we talk about finances, the easier the conversation is going to be. And there's no embarrassment or shame because everybody is pretty much, in my opinion, starting at ground zero. A lot of people just don't know about finances, and that's okay. But again, we don't want to stay there. So it's our responsibility to educate ourselves as much as possible to hopefully get to the other side.
Right, right, right. I think that, for me, I was one of them, right?
Mhm.
Not educated. And I think the reason why I didn't speak to my spouse about my finances is because of that very same reason. Like I didn't want to be vulnerable in that way
Yep.
because I didn't know how he was going to react to, okay, you have these XYZ things going on. But I think these are conversations that we should have had, so that we could have been properly prepared for how to work through it. And I think that right now we're in a season. I love what you said. You are where you are. And so, that's why I contacted you the other day, because I'm like, we got to get these things together. And I think you have to come to the self awareness like, no, you got to start somewhere. Otherwise, it's just going to continue to go out of control. And I
For
want to make
sure.
sure that I can be positioned to steward our finances better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So, what shaped your personal relationship with money growing up?
Not having what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I went to an affluent high school. I went to Lower Marion High School. I went to school with Kobe Bryant. And although you may think, hey, well, he went to a rich high school, that wasn't my life.
Mhm.
Like I grew up on the other side of the rich tracks. And I wasn't dirt poor. We weren't eating like cans of tuna fish or anything like that, but we didn't have a lot. And just like a lot of black families, there were a lot of people in the house, aunts, uncles, grandparents, so forth. And I live with my grandparents. And so I understood at a young age that I didn't have as much as the kids that I was going to school with. And I also understood that whatever I wanted, I was going to have to work for it. So that was the reason why when I was 16 years old, while other kids were getting cars given to them by their parents, which was great for them, I had to work for the $500 car that I had.
Yeah.
But it was okay. It that's what shaped me. I understood that nothing was going to be given to me. Um and I had to work for everything that I wanted. So I just understood that I had to save everything that I wanted. And although it wasn't necessarily fun at the time, it ended up being the best thing that could have ever happened to me or for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really good because you have to be an extremely disciplined person to be able to do that, especially at such a young age. Because when I'm looking at society now, and, like we mentioned, we look at things like social media and things that they're watching on TV. And, these kids are like getting money from everywhere, but that's not the story for everybody. Everybody does not have that same story.
Mhm.
And it could be difficult to try to, you know, even try to put yourself in the category when that's not your life.
Yeah.
That's not your life. But a lot of people are not that disciplined to be able to say, okay, I understand that this is not me,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I'm going to save. Some people are just spending, trying to keep up and going into debt over it.
Facts. And to that point, a lot of the parents who grew up the way I grew up know how it feels not to have, right? So even if they don't have a lot, they may want to come off to their kids like they do. So they're going
Mm,
to buy whatever the kids want because they know how it feels not to have, and they don't want
mhm.
their kids to feel that way, but they're doing it to their detriment, and they're
Ooh.
going into debt, and they're looking up and like, oh my God, how did I, max out this credit card of $10,000 and now I'm paying 28% on all these different purchases, trying to portray a lifestyle that really isn't me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it happens more often than you think.
Oh yeah, I am. Listen, I'm being so transparent right now because you were stepping on all my toes. When listen, when I
Yeah.
was raising my daughter, remember I was a single mother
Hmm.
for the first 14 years of her life. And so she's an adult now, but she did not even know that we were broke.
Hmm.
Okay? All of her friends thought she was rich because she had everything that she needed, right? And so I'm as an adult now I'm trying to have conversations with her and feeling like I should have been more transparent. I should have allowed her to see some of the things that we were going through because when I tell you it was rough, it was rough. Like we were getting evicted. Like the sheriff was
Hmm.
at my door every single month, and she did not even understand the depth of how bad our situation was. All she
Yeah.
knew is I'm getting my phone, I got my little Mac, I got my iPhone, I got this, I got all the essentials.
Yep.
And to her friends, they're like, "Oh, Jordan is the rich friend." That's what they were calling her, the rich friend.
Hmm.
And I felt like I should have been a little bit more transparent because I think that would have given her a little bit more self-awareness as an adult to be like, "Yeah, I need to manage these finances. I need
Yeah,
to
but
manage these finances a little bit more."
you realize that now, but when you're in it, you don't really see it. But
Yeah.
now you do, and now you have a younger child, right?
So I have two smaller ones now.
So now
I
you
have,
can do
yeah,
something about what you didn't with the first one. So it's,
absolutely.
even though it's obviously you don't feel good about that, you do have time to make up for it with the other ones.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And
So
still her.
yeah, and it comes with again, it's embarrassment. It may be a little bit of pride. It may be fear that you don't want to show your kids and be vulnerable with your kids that this is our reality, but it doesn't have to be like that. And I think that's where the paradigm shift needs to come. Like, you understand, like, hey, this is where I am now, but you may not know that it's not always going to be like this. But some people think that this is going to be my life
Yeah,
because maybe that's how they grew up.
yeah,
But if you have like the paradigm shift saying, hey, well, although I know my situation is what it is now, if I make a couple different moves, then it can be different. But you have to have that in your mind. But if you don't, then you'll just continue to live the way you were, unfortunately.
right, right. And I love that. And I love that. And that's why I love what you do. So I want to ask you, like, how did you transition into helping people get their finances together?
I got my own finances together first. I think that's the best guide that you can have, is the person who's gone through the thing that they're teaching you.
Right,
So it's
right.
better for me to be able to teach somebody how to get out of debt if I got out of debt. Like,
Okay.
this is how I did it. If I had troubles in my marriage as a result of money, I can talk about it. And hey, it was this way at one point in time, but it's different now.
Yeah.
Not saying that my
Yeah.
life is perfect. I have issues, and my wife and I, we still, beef sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it is that we work together, and our marriage and our bond is stronger
Yeah.
because we work together. And I had to do some things as a man, as the leader of the house, saying, hey, I think we need to combine our finances, because the first 10 years of our marriage, our finances were not combined because
Mm-hmm.
of fear.
Mm-hmm.
I was the saver, she was a spender, and I was
Mm-hmm.
scared to death to put my money. To your point earlier, I made a certain amount of money. I think we were making around the same amount at one point in time, and I was scared to death because sometimes she would come to me before we combine our finances saying, "Hey, I spent all my money.
Mm.
Can I borrow some money from you?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
Because like, we're at that point in time when she was saying that, she was making more money than me, but I
Mm.
had more money than her.
Mm.
And so I was like, "No, you're not gonna blow my money. Like, I work hard." It's like, she was a nurse. So
Mm-hmm.
she would work
Mm-hmm.
4 days a week, and I'm working 5, sometimes 6 days a week. And she's at the mall while I'm at work. Like, "Hey babe, what you doing?" I'm like, "I'm working. What can I do for
Mm-hmm.
you?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then a
Yeah,
couple of
I
days
know.
later, "Hey, can I borrow some money?" Absolutely not.
I know. Oh man, I know that had to hurt because it's like, okay, we got to get together. Like for me and my husband, some of the biggest arguments that we've had is because of finances. I'm gonna share a story.
Yeah.
There was one time where I needed finances like urgently for something,
Hmm.
and it was to the point where I went into the account and I got it for what it was that I needed, but
Hmm.
I had completely forgot. And so
Hmm.
when he checked the account, he was like, "Where did the money go?" Right?
Ooh.
And it was how he came at me.
Yeah.
Like, it was the guards went up immediately. And so
Yeah.
we got so defensive and so argumentative, and we started going back and forth and back and forth. And at that moment, I could not even remember what I needed it for. Like, it was like I was so blindsided. Like, I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh my God," like, I don't the conversation just went left real quick,
Yep.
real quick, real quick.
Yeah.
And so we had to come to a place where, okay, we really need to focus. Oh Lord, my dog. Gotta ignore. We really need to focus on these finances, because it's one of those situations where he's the saver
Hmm.
and I'm the spender.
Yeah.
I'm the spender. And so this is why I'm trying to get a handle on it, and why I'm trying to get to a point where I'm just like, okay, I got to work on these finances. We got to work on these finances. We got to have these conversations so that, our marriage is not in trouble, because we don't want to be another statistic.
Correct.
We want to make sure that we are getting a handle on it, because I don't want to be in situations where, I'm going to him and asking him for money and then he's telling me no, because we've done that. We've
Yeah.
had to go through that and had to transition through that. And
Yeah.
so I don't want to be that in that type of situation. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation. I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of like, how long did it take you to get out of debt? Like, how was that process?
So consumer debt, it was fairly quick. When we combined our finances, I didn't have any consumer debt. That means like credit cards, student loans, car loans, or anything like that. So I didn't have that at that point in time. My wife, she had a car note, I believe, but no, by that time her car was paid off. But she did have student loans. So when we combined our finances together, I think it took maybe about a year, maybe maybe a year and a half to knock it down, because what we don't realize is that when we're working separately, it's a lot harder to get something accomplished than when you're working with somebody else that can partner with you to get the job done faster. And
Right.
so when we did that, it seemed like it accelerated her being able to pay off her student loans, which we did. And when she wanted to go back to school to get her bachelor's, because she got her associates, when she went back to school to get her bachelor's, we paid for it cash. We cash flowed it, so we put it inside the budget as a line item to pay as she went and finished her classes. So
That's
it took
good.
about I'm going to say a year, year and a half, maybe. I may be
Yeah.
off a couple months, but it didn't take that long. And then, but the larger one was the house.
Hmm.
So that took us 7.5 years to pay our house off. And I think one thing that we as believers discount is when we're good stewards over our finances, then God adds to what we're currently doing. So when we did the 7.5 years we paid our house off, there were bonuses, there were stock options, there were different things that came into our lives, like people telling us about different things that saved us money. And while we were paying the house off, we were buying other things as well. We have a pool in our backyard. We bought a car cash as well. So a lot of the things that we did, we were in partnership with each other, but then at the same time, God was in partnership with what we were doing, and He accelerated what we were doing and added some too. So I think we discount that, and that's another story that as I'm going through it, I can tell other believers.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
Um, because you got to be able to partner with God, because He's going to be the one to help you steward correctly. And with
exactly.
that, there are people out there who I want. There's some who believe in paying tithes and some who don't believe in tithes,
Mhm.
right? You might have the wife who's like, okay, I'm gonna be the tither, and then you might have the spouse who's like, "Oh, no, we don't have much to give, so I'm not gonna be giving it to the church." Like, what would you say to someone who is in situations where they have that imbalance?
I mean, if you're a believer, in my opinion, then you believe. If you're not, then you don't. And when you don't, then you don't do what you know to do.
Right.
And tithes and offerings is a non-negotiable in my house.
Yeah.
And not saying hey, I'm gonna put my foot down and you have to. This is something that we believe together, and that's what we do. And I believe that you can't afford not to.
Yeah.
Because if you believe what God said, then you do it and you wait for the things to come in. And but I think where we go wrong is we pray for something, God blesses us with the money that we need, and a lot of times we eat the seed. So if we're praying for, hey, I need this bill paid, and you have other debts, God will maybe give you abundance to pay the bill and money for the other debts that you have, but then you eat the seed. You just go blow it at the mall, or you give it to your kid to do something frivolous with, potentially. But if we're good stewards over the finances, then we would take the extra and then pay the other things down. So then we'll have more money to do the cool things that we want to do once those other things are paid down. So let's just say you have $500 in credit cards that you need to pay, and then God blesses you with the money for your bills. And then he blesses you consecutive months to be able to pay that $500 in credit cards off. So now you have 500 extra dollars to do some cool things with the with the money. But we sometimes we eat the seed, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that. For somebody who feels like they just don't have it at all, like they don't even have it to save, they don't know where it's coming from, the finances are like all over the place. Like, what advice would you give them to help them restructure it so that they can see the vision of themselves paying it off?
Sure, that's it's simple, not easy. So what I do in with Wealth as a Journey is I do one-on-one coaching. So I think as a person who doesn't necessarily have a grasp on their finances, you need another set of eyes on what you're doing. Somebody who's been through, like we talked about earlier, what you've been through, and then they can guide you on which way to go based on where you say you want to go. So if you tell me, "Hey, Che, I want to pay these credit cards off," I'll look at all of your finances, your income, your expenses, and then we'll put a plan together on how to attack what you say you want, which is the credit cards in this scenario. So it's not necessarily what you don't have; it's really what you're willing to sacrifice to have what you want. Because you
Yeah,
can't do all the things that you want and pay the bills off. And I think that's another way or another area where we go wrong. We want to be able to still go to the mall. We still want to be able to go out to eat. We still want to do all the cool things and pay the bills off at the same time. And a lot of times it doesn't work like that. You have to sacrifice and you have to be disciplined in order for you to get where you want to go. Like wealthy people aren't wealthy by accident. A lot of people, anyway. And a lot of people, they have to put plans in place. Once they find out where they want to go, put a plan in place and then execute the plan consistently. And that's the way we'll do it.
yeah, I love that. I love that wealthy people are not wealthy by accident. And I think that's one of the hardest lessons that we need to learn, because we're also dealing with these generational factors. People are, it's for me and my family. Our family likes to say, we have these generational things and generational things, but we're focusing so much on the fact that it could be generational, but we're
Hmm.
not focusing on the fact that we can change the outcome by just making better decisions as it relates to finances. So we can't blame it on generational curses and generational this all the time. Not when you come into that knowledge of, okay, now this is what you're supposed to do with your finances, this is how you get a handle on it, this is how you are able to move forward. What is the importance of having a financial advisor like yourself?
It's very important. And it's only important to those who want to do something with their finance. Because a lot of people, truth be told, and I'm sure these people as well, that say that they want to do things, but that do absolutely nothing about it. Like, yeah, I want to lose weight, but then you eating Doritos and cookies and cakes and stuff like that. So what you're saying and what you're doing don't match. So to those who want to, do something financially, it's very important. A lot of people think that they can do it on their own, which a lot of people can. But if you don't really have the discipline or somebody who's going to hold you accountable, then I believe that you need somebody that you're going to have to pay for, but those what you pay is going to pale in comparison to what you're going to gain generationally, excuse me. Because then once you get good at budgeting, once you get good at investing, then you can pass that information down to your kids, and then they're not going to run into a lot of the pitfalls that you did, because they're going to be equipped with the information not to do the things that we did. So it's going to pay huge dividends.
I
So
love
I
that.
think it's very important.
I love that. It's that accountability factor, and to be honest, I'm gonna give a shout out to MMU right now. MMU, shout
Let's
out,
go. Let's
right?
go.
Because it wasn't until I started becoming aware of my spending habits and things like
Mhm,
that. Um, but it wasn't until I joined the community where I started to become a little bit more focused.
mhm,
One of the things that I do find is difficult though is how do you manage and build at the same time? Because it's almost like, we're in that community where
mhm,
it's business owners. The
mhm.
goal is to, work on your businesses and try to elevate. But when your finances are limited, but you're having to pay for all these different things like the conferences and the this and the that, like all of these things add up.
Yeah.
So how do you I know being in environments that elevate your mindset, so we can talk a little bit about mindset right now, but how do you focus your mindset to be able to build and save, so that you can accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish?
Man, that's a really good question. I think you have to know yourself, and understand that. So for me, I don't go to every conference, because I know that based on the headspace that I'm in right now, there's no way I'm going to execute on anything that they're talking about. So I'm going to waste time and money going to this conference. And so if you're in a bad financial way, um, there's a couple things. I would say that pay the things down so you'll have extra money, but then also with the partnership of God, you need to be able to pray and receive the green light to go or not to go. Because if he says yes to go, because you have a partnership with God as well, then he'll provide for you to be able to get there, come back, have food, lodging, all the things that you need. But if we go just on a whim and we just go and it may not be the right time to go, I think that's another lost art too, is like having that relationship with God for him to tell you to go or not, or invest in this or not. Because in the Bible, there's many different examples of when God told somebody, yes, go do this, or they prayed, yes, go do this, or hey, no, don't go do that. And they did it anyway, and then they suffered loss. And once he told them to go do such and such a thing and they did it, they won, or people won as a result of their obedience. So I think that that's another thing as believers that we have to do, and that's something that I started doing in my investing journey as I was getting closer to God, and he was telling me, yes, you can go do this, and then I would accomplish the thing, or we would accomplish the thing. Then my relationship with him got a little bit more intimate, to the fact that I was continuously asking him at least about the small things for him to tell me yes to go do it, or no, don't go do it. And if I did it, I won. If I didn't, or if I went against what I heard, I would lose. And I just went through this in investing. I invested in something. He told me don't do it. I did it anyway, and I suffered thousands of dollars in loss. So I have many examples of what I'm
Wow.
talking about.
Wow.
So yeah. So
Yeah,
not
yeah.
to go too deep, but
Yeah,
that's
that's so good. That's so
yeah.
good because, through my journey of before I got into MMU, I tried so many different coaching communities, and I had one coach who was like, worry about the divorce later, okay? And at that point you've already given them, I'm not even gonna say the amount because I ain't tell my husband yet how much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I would have the conversations with him and he would give me the okay to join, or like we had those conversations. He would say, yeah, go to the conference, go to these things, but he never really focused on how much did it cost, and so I would go. But I think that if I had understood that concept, like not everything you need to go to, especially when you're building, because you don't even have the capacity to house all of the information. Like you really need to take your time because it really can damage your relationship. You keep going to these conferences, you keep spending these money,
Hmm.
you keep going to these masterminds. These things add up because they're
Yeah.
very expensive.
Yeah.
And I think that, when you're communicating with your spouse, and you're not being fully transparent about these things, that's where it damages that relationship. It really truly does.
Hmm.
So
I'm sitting here in front of you because um I prayed. And so what happened was is it was around like the financial boom and Wall Street Trapper, you had Earn Your Leisure. And then I was listening to these podcasts and I was like, should I join their group? And I didn't hear anything. Should I join this group? And I didn't hear anything. And then when I was listening to Dave, I heard join that group. And I'm sitting in front of you because of the obedience piece. And then how many other lives have I helped? Because Wealth is a Journey wasn't a thing until I joined that group, until I joined the morning meetup. Like it wasn't
Wow.
even a thing at
Wow.
all.
Yeah.
Podcast wasn't a thing at all. So
Yeah.
I know based on what I prayed for that this is where I need to be.
That's so good. That's so good. And to think about, how much I spent in previous communities versus what we spend in MMU.
Yep.
But not just that, the value
The
that
value.
you get from it,
Yep.
I couldn't pay for. I couldn't pay for, you know?
Yeah.
So that is so important to be so aware and so in tune to understand, okay, this is when you need to move, this is when you need to be still, so that you're not frivolously wasting those funds and not creating those issues within your marriage, just trying to do everything. Because what I love about this community is it gets you focused so that you can focus on something when you are living in confusion and all over the place. And I think when one of the things that I do is I help women to um build when they have a disconnect, because sometimes when women get married they lose themselves, they don't understand what it is that they're supposed to be doing.
Yep.
And so when they develop the skills or do the things that they truly want to do,
Hmm.
then it helps them shift their mindset, so that they're able to manage their finances better, so they can focus on their businesses and focus on these things. And I love the community because it allows you the opportunity to be able to do that. Focus on one thing,
Hmm.
work on it, get the social proof, and
Yep.
then and then
Absolutely.
and then you'll come out like you have your business, right? Like you're doing the things and you're working with the community, and you're getting your leads and finances and all these different things in order, and you're bringing back that social proof. And so
Exactly.
that's what I love. That's what I love. That's why I'm excited about this journey that I'm on right now.
Hmm.
I'm excited to see, because I've just joined. I'm still new in this. I'm
Yeah.
still soaking it in. I'm still getting the clarity and the things that we need, because my mindset is changing. How important is it to have that mindset shift when it comes to your finances?
It's huge. I mean, I think it starts with belief. Like, and I think it's from a mindset perspective, I think it's good to start small. So then when you accomplish a small goal, that gives you the belief that you can do something else. But then I also believe that it's who you are around. Um, I don't like negativity. I don't like being around people who talk about gossip and things like that. I think that's a negative mindset, and people who talk about other people. And so I surround myself with people who I'm trying to be like or who are better than me from a mindset perspective, finance perspective, all the things, right? So I think having a strong mindset is big, and I think achieving a strong mindset is a little bit more difficult because it requires time, because it's not going to happen overnight. So the books that we read, the things that we listen to, the things that we watch, the things that we don't watch, the people who we're around, all have an impact on how our mindset is going to be or not be. But it takes time though. Like I didn't just arrive at this person that I am now, and I'm still evolving, I'm still changing. But I believe that because of the community that we're in, the books that we're reading, the things that I consume, and the things that I stopped consuming, and the people I stopped being around was a huge factor in my mindset changing. So if you want to change your mindset, you first need to look around and see who you're around right now. And if those people are negative and you find yourself being negative, then maybe you need to change your circle. And but it that's a huge thing. So that and the mindset helps you with the belief part, and then comes the execution. So that's a
Yeah.
hopefully not too long winded, but yeah,
No,
that's
it's not
definitely it.
long-winded. It's not long-winded, and it's absolutely necessary because mindset is it's a continuous process, right? I think a lot of people, they don't want to take the time that it takes to work on these things, which is why, as you mentioned, the community is important
Hmm.
because what I've noticed is because my mindset is shifting because of all of the various things that we're doing, whenever I hear the negativity or the I can't or the complaining or the things, it's almost like it's cringe. It's like
Yep.
I can't do it. Like I don't want the negativity and you don't
Yeah.
want to be around it because that's how you know that you're evolving and you're changing and transitioning. And I think that once you start working on that mindset and surrounding yourself with people, that comes with it. That comes with it. And then you start holding yourself accountable to even the goals that you're setting financially. And then hopefully you can bring that to your home and then you and your spouse are on the same page with that. So I love that. I love that. So how often do you think couples should be checking in as it relates to their finances?
It depends on where you are. I mean,
Hmm.
my wife and I, we do it once a month. And if there needs to be something changed based on what we agreed to before the month starts, um, then we check back in. Hey, we ran out of money in this category. Can we take it from somewhere else? Because that happens too. So I would say if you're in the beginning stages of getting your finances together, I would say maybe once a week or more if need be. But then once you guys get in a groove and you understand and you guys are clicking on from a financial perspective, your budget's together, you guys are knocking down goals, paying things down, and you have extra money to do some nice things that you guys want to do, then I think maybe once a month. But once you guys accomplish goals, small or large, I think a celebration needs to happen to increase the intimacy because once you guys feel like you're winning together, then you tend to believe that you're unstoppable, which you are. So there's a lot of things that happen once those check-ins happen, and once you guys start knocking down goals. So it depends on where you are, but I would say maximum once, twice a week, minimum once a month.
I love that. I love that because it keeps us aligned with making sure that we are meeting the goals, working towards the goal, and all of that
Hmm.
good stuff. So I absolutely love that. When it comes to investing, because earlier I mentioned that how we had the little bank that my godmother gave us for the baby shower.
Hmm.
We didn't know what to do with those funds after the the bank was filled up. So
Sure.
what would you suggest? Like, where should couples begin investing?
Yeah.
Should they begin investing when they're saving? Should they begin investing? Like what point should they begin looking at different investments and at how low can you
Immediately.
go?
Immediately. But it all depends on what type of investor you are. Um, so I invest in real estate and I invest in the stock market, but there are other ways to invest. So it all depends on what type of investor you are, what type of temperament you have. Do you like to see your account going up and down? Are you constantly looking at your account? Like it all depends on what type of investor you are. But at the very least, I would say that in a high yield savings account, put it in there first until you're ready, until you have decided together what to do with the money from an investment standpoint. Um, for kids, I would say if you believe that they're going to go to college, then I would say maybe put it in a 529, a college savings account. So we all know, a lot of us know anyway, how it feels to go to school with student loans, come out of school with student loans. You got this all this debt hanging over your head before you get a job, before you get a car. before you get an apartment or a house, you got this thing hanging over your head. So any amount that you can put and continue to put into that account for your kids, because I think that's what the piggy bank was for, then I would do that. And no amount is too small. I started my son investing $25 a month. So we have a monthly meeting. Me, him, and two of his cousins. They're younger. My son's he'll be 14 at the end of this month. My nephew, he's 15, and my other nephew, he's 11. So we get on this call. We talk about all things finances. Give them 5 questions. When they answer the 5 questions, then we go to our fidelity, and then we look at our portfolios, and then they get to invest $25 a month, and that gets them on the road to thinking about investment from a young age. And that $25 has gone so far. And that's why I say, like, it could be as small as 25 bucks. It could be as small as $5. Whatever you can do it. Because once you get more, once God adds to you, then you already have a plan in place with the little, and then you can invest much.
I love that. So not just for kids investing 25, also for the adults.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because
What
that's the trick of it.
so where would you recommend adults begin investing that little? Like
It depends. It's
yeah.
like I said, I think the high yield savings account is a start, because I remember when I first started out, I had an ING account.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, ING is Capital One now.
Mhm.
I will put my money in there, and I think they had a yield of like 3 to 4% or something like that. And I will be happy
Mhm.
at the end of every month. I'll look at my account and say, okay, well, my little percentage hit, but I didn't know about investing in the stock market then.
Yeah, yeah.
But now I educated myself, and I understand what company's good, what company's bad, doing my research and doing all those different things. And my account's doing well because I did research. But I think the trick of the enemy is that, oh, well, that $25 ain't going to do nothing for you. That $10 isn't going to do nothing for you. But it's the mindset to know that I need to start somewhere. And if I start somewhere, then God adds to me more money, then I can do more with more money. But I have to start where I am. And you have to be okay with that. Like, you're not just going to pop up and just appear and start investing $50,000 a month. Like, you're not going to do that. Start small, but start. Be consistent, and then when more money comes, you can invest more money. But at that point in time, you will have the social proof of the mistakes that you made with the $5, with the $10, with the $25. So when you get the 10,000 and you can put that in the market, or if that's what you're choosing to do, you can do that and be confident that your money's going to work because you went through the social proof. You already have the social proof of what you did wrong.
I love that. I love that because you need that social proof so that you can save better, make better decisions,
Yep.
and continuously honor God with the finances. So I'm absolutely loving this conversation. I'm thinking we could go all night in this. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with the audience in terms of like budgeting, savings, and
Yeah.
okay?
Absolutely. So, if you need help, please seek the help that you need with your finances. I have one-on-one coaching. I also have free products on my website, which is wealthisajourney.com. I have how-to videos on how to set up a budget properly, the right way, paying down debt so then you can have money. I have free tools on my website. I have an online community where we meet once a month to discuss financial wins, areas of opportunity, and strategies to get you to the M's.
Yes.
And we talk about mindset, all that stuff, man. All the things that you're going to need to equip you to be the millionaire that you want to be, if that's what you choose to, or if you want to live a comfortable life, you can do that too. But don't do nothing. If you have an issue, don't do nothing. It's okay. Start where you are, but do something.
Absolutely. I love that. And y'all, I'm on this call, and for a moment of transparency, this is going to be my accountability, right? This is the conversation that I'm having right now to say that I myself am going to go through this whole process with my spouse so that we can get our finances together because we're starting from nothing, right?
Yeah.
We're starting very small and working our way up so that in a couple of months now, we'll be able to have that social proof to say it's actually working. And right now, I'm working on those tools. I'm putting my budget together.
Mhm.
I downloaded it from Shay's website. So let me tell you, it is helping a lot. It is helping a lot to
Good.
even just get organized in terms of recognizing what I'm spending, what's coming in,
Mhm.
and what's going out. And I think I heard you say um a time ago where you said that you have to tell your money where to go. Let's
Yep.
talk about that a little bit real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people are scared of the word budget, right? It makes people cringe. It makes people feel restricted. Hey, I can't spend my money. But no, you're actually doing the opposite. You are telling your money where to go before the month starts. So if let's just say we're in July now, in a few weeks it'll be August. So my recommendation is to have your August budget done before August starts. So when the money starts coming in, you can start directing it where it needs to go. It needs to go to this bill. It needs to go to this savings account. It needs to go on my mortgage or my electric and or date night. That's huge as well for married folks or people who are dating, courting, whatever. In spending money for yourself. Like those are the missed opportunities um that we have that don't budget. Because a lot of people who budget now are they have their income, they have their expenses, whatever's left over, they blow the money. And then when you blow the money, you don't have money for savings. So when catastrophes come or you have an issue at your house, then you're swiping a credit card because you don't have money put away. So we're showing you how to actually um tell your money where to go and have a plan so when those difficult times come, you'll be prepared. There's nothing worse than having an issue, a financial issue happen and you're unprepared and then you're scrambling around and you're frantic and you're frazzled and that's when you and your husband or you and your wife or start beefing because you don't have a plan. So it just makes things more difficult. So we help you put it together a plan to get you on the right financial track. So,
I love that. I love that because you need a plan.
yep.
You need a plan, you need direction, and you need guidance. And
Yeah.
remember, he said that we cannot do it by ourselves. It's very difficult to do by yourselves.
Mhm.
Why do it by yourself when you can have help to help you get to your goal faster? And that's the ultimate goal is to be able to, have the accountability, have the community, have all the things to get the finances together because if you could have done it by yourself, then you would have done it already.
Correct.
You would have
Yeah,
done it already.
and I can't blame people because I was of the mindset that like, yo, I'm not paying this person to do anything for me. Like
Yeah.
I'll do it. But then I quickly realized that if I was going to do it, I would have already done it. Or once I found out the information of how much it costs to pay this person to do whatever I needed done, and
Hmm.
then I went back and then it was a week passed and then 2 weeks passed and I did nothing with the information, then I'm like, okay, well, I actually do need this person. But
Yeah.
again, there's free resources as well on there. And if you feel like based on the free resources that I have that you can take advantage of it.
Hmm.
I'm fine. I'm
Yeah.
I'm quite okay. But if you do need help, don't stay stuck. Please. Your
Don't stay
kids are
stuck.
counting on you.
Yes. I know mine are. My
Yeah.
whole family is counting on me.
Yeah.
The whole family is counting on, okay, Tammy's gonna be the one to break this generational thing, right?
Hmm.
So I gotta be that example. We gotta be that example to show them that it is possible. That it
Correct.
is possible. So I'm excited to start this journey with you. I'm excited to, learn all the things finances and just get it together. Just get it together.
Yeah.
So and being vulnerable with everybody with that process,
Yeah.
it's a scary thing, but I'm here for it. I'm here for the assignment.
Yeah.
And I hope that those who are watching also take the initiative to do the same thing. So again, tell people where they can find you, your social media, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So at CHE.Willis, WILLIS on IG, I believe TikTok as well. And then I have Wealth is a Journey podcast on YouTube, and that's at Wealth is a Journey. And yeah, I drop an episode every week. and give people the ins and outs of my life, like what I've gone through. If me and my wife are beefing about finances, just different mindset trials and tribulations that we may go through, and then how to get over to the other side. And we're being vulnerable. And one thing I'll say real quick is when you're going through this journey, or anything that you're fearful of, you will realize once you go through the thing that it wasn't that bad and you didn't die. And the reason I can say that is because when I first joined the morning meetup, I was scared to death just to talk to the computer. And I got over the fear by doing the podcast. And then now I'm able to talk in front of audiences where it was a fear of mine. But then I realized, like, yo, the thing that I'm fearful of, it's holding me back from doing what God told me to do, which was help people and helping people with their finances. And I can't do that if I'm scared to talk. So you got to get over the things that you're fearful of, and then once you do it, you'll realize, hey, that wasn't that bad, and I'm still alive. I'm good. So if you're fearful of getting your finances in order, understand that you're not the only one. And if you need help and you need a guide to do it, I can help you with that. And then you'll realize, like, look, this, like, what I was fearing wasn't even really a thing.
Yeah.
So
I love that. I love that. Because, like, you see me, I don't say nothing. I listen to everything. You're not going to hear me talk a lot.
yeah.
But like you, I'm coming out of that space where I'm realizing that you got to be able to speak, because just like you said, in order to help people, you have to get out of your own head, right? You got to get out of your own head. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that, because I'm looking
Absolutely.
at the evidence of what God has done for you.
Mhm.
And that's giving me hope that, I can get better at this as well.
Yeah.
So,
And still doing for me. It
Yeah.
ain't over. I'm like, I have not arrived at all. I still get nervous, and I still, we still go through things, but we go through them.
Love it.
We don't stop. We keep going. So
Love it, love it, love it. Y'all, we have been here for an hour. We can talk all day because it's valuable information. It's information that is important to help you, lead you, and guide you so that you can get your life together, put your things in order. God wants you to, he wants you to honor your finances, just the same way that you do everything else in your life. So I think it's very important that we get to a headspace where we can start the process. Start with the little. It doesn't take much to begin, because that is going to help you shift your mindset. Little steps matter. You can celebrate the small wins as you elevate to get to things that are higher. So I just want to encourage you guys to just go on his social media, go to his website, download the material. It is going to help you begin that process to go on your way. I am right now in that space where I am doing the same, because I recognize from my own life that there is something that has to change. And so I hope that you all follow suit. So thank you all for tuning into Candid Talks About Sex for Saints. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And thank you for joining us on our Married Sex Mondays. Until next time, bye.
thank you.